This is the bass practice guide for Boccherini Minuet. It's the last solo in the fourth period solo packet. I'm going to break down some of the concepts that are a little bit fresher and then play a little bit of it for you. So the first thing is in the very first measure. Notice that we start with a 4-note 16th note pickup, but where it says measure 1, this rhythm is a syncopal rhythm. It's a syncopated rhythm. So it sounds this way. 1, set, in, play. So I think cinco, pa, and. The correct way to count it with counts is 1 and. So it's all on the ands. The 3 and the numbers are all kind of hidden inside of the note. So here it is again, pizzicato. So you're changing off of every beat. A great, easiest place to practice just this concept is at the very last line, measure 26. You have syncopation, same rhythm, but on the same note. Cinco, pa, and on that first finger E. Also, there are some trills in here. We've done trill exercises in class, but you personally haven't had it in your music. So where it says TR, a couple places. First place is 5, 6, 7, the end of measure 7. In class, we've practiced holding open A and adding first finger this way. This trill actually goes from B, we're going to play first finger, to C sharp. So the idea is you're trying to fit in as many of these as possible. With this speed, I would say it's probably 2. And then you have to shift back for these little grace notes. It's just like the grace note in the Gothic gavotte, but this one is 2 of them. So we're here. I get it about 2 or 3 turns. 1, 2, and there's the third, and then I go back. So both of the times it happens, the first time you play it and then the repeat. The next place where you have that trill, 17, 18, 19. Same fingers, 1 to 4 trill, and then open D first finger. So it looks this way. And then that low D is in parentheses because you don't have that note, it's too low for you. But so you can either just kind of treat it like a rest, or you can go and play the upper note instead. So that would be like the first ending right before the trio. So I'm going to play a little bit of this from the beginning and break it down. Take the repeat. There are lots of first and second endings throughout this. Again, reminders for those, since we haven't seen them too much in this class. Take the first ending and then repeat back, skip over the first ending, and then take the second ending. Breaking down from beginning, I start with my second finger on the upper D. So it's like a lower 4th position or an upper 3rd position for 2 notes. D, C sharp, and then I shift up, first finger D, 4th finger E. So those first notes, 2, 1, 1, 4, 1. Then in the syncopation, open D, I bring my hand back to that upper 2nd position for first finger on F sharp. Then I shift up to 3rd position for A, G. So that first little bit, shift back, shift up. Then I do a finger replacement, go back to that upper 2nd position, G, F sharp. Same thing as the beginning, just on a different string and a different position. 2, 1, shift, 1, 4. And this should be a first finger a G. Shift back, shift up. So it's like the same fingering and same position work, just in a different spot. Going forward, pickups to measure 5. This is kind of a pivoty section to where we're going to pivot back and forth between 3rd position and then lower 2nd position. So I start with D, 4th finger, then immediately pivot backwards for this B, then immediately pivot forwards for A, G sharp 2nd finger in 3rd position. So it looks this way. Right. Also, reintroduction of the dotted A16th rhythm, which we've seen in this class, but in your part you haven't seen very much of. So with counts, Measure 4 would be 1, 1 and 2, 3, 1, 3, 1. Then it happens again. Same fingering. Then this little bit, it's in brackets because it's kind of a tricky section. It's lots of shifting back and forth. Follow the fingering carefully. There should be minus signs everywhere where you have to actually shift, but I might have missed some, so don't assume if there isn't a minus sign that it's not a shift. So fourth finger C sharp, shift up, fourth finger A, shift back, first finger F sharp, shift up, fourth finger A, shift back, first finger on B, do your trill, shift back for the grace notes, A, B, A. So it's lots of going back and forth, almost reading every single note. So a little slower, but in tempo. Shift up, shift back, shift up, shift back. So it's a very shifty section. I would practice this without the trill and the grace note first. So that would kind of sound something like this. You'll actually get the A in tune, not like me today. So, and then you can add the trill in. So then we would take the first ending, or if you take the second ending, it adds the next section. So this is where it says 8B, it's the second ending, last beat starting on that F natural. All of the short eighth notes should be on the string and short. You shouldn't go off the string for this piece. Just a little interlude, pretty easy section. It's all in first position. Again, I'm not going to be playing any dynamics. That's up to you to put those together. I'm just going to show you the notes and rhythms and kind of where to get started. Then we repeat the phrase itself again. So going forward from pickups to measure 13, last 4 notes of measure 12. All of the same. So more of the same, more of the same. And then we get to the last 2 notes of measure 16. It's similar, but slightly different. Starting on G. So again, it's pretty shifty, but not as shifty as before. So I start in third position for G, E, then shift back, second finger D, first finger C sharp, shift up again, repeat the process, shift up again, shift back to F sharp first finger, in the slur, shift back to first finger first position B, then shift up second position, shift back first position, and then you have the ending. So kind of in tempo, starting, and I'll try to talk through it as best as I can, starting in third, back, going so far. I would practice again this section kind of by itself, just like that section that's in brackets. Then going forward, we have the trio section. Notice that the key has changed. We lost a sharp. So this again should be all on the string and short. We reintroduce, I would say, the 2 slurred 16th pattern. So like second measure of the trio, measure 22, 1 and a 2 and a 3. We've seen that rhythm, but not so much with slurs. So instead of doing down, up, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, it's all this way. So I'll play a little bit of the trio, starting in first position. And then we go forward this way. The goal is we don't want to have a string crossing on a slur. So that's what these fingerings are for, and I'll break down this measure. We have A, shift up for C sharp and B, or C natural and B, because we can't change the key. Shift back. Then in the space, change to third position. So you play the first A in first position, the second A in third position. Looks like this. A, G. That way we get this slur without the string crossing. And we're prepared for the F sharp. You can also play it In first position, it's an easier option, but for more advanced players that want to work on position, you can add in this fingering. Then we go forward. Simple shifts to third position, just like a scale. Back to first position, going forward. So here's that line again. I'll play it through. Then going forward. So the tricky start is just the shifting bit. Then 25, starting in first position. Cinco, pa, and. Right? You don't have that low D, so you can just play open D. So the trio section is pretty simple. And then what's not written here, it's cut off. I'm not sure if it's cut off or they just didn't print it. This is actually a DC al fine piece. So in this form, minuet and trio form, you have the minuet and you have the trio. You play the minuet first, you play the trio second, and then you go back and play the minuet again. So it's a traditional DC al fine. So after you're done playing the trio, you play your last 3 notes. Go back to beginning. Play through it again without first endings. That's the gist of the Boccherini Minuet. It's a piece that you hear a lot in pop culture, so it tends to be pretty popular. But some of the rhythms are tricky, and there's lots of shifting involved, so it definitely is an advanced solo piece.